Brought to you by Dehancer. Use the promo code RABBIT to receive 10% off Dehancer products. Dehancer.com.
16 nominations for Sinners, a horror vampire movie from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Twin brothers return to their hometown after being gangsters in Chicago, and then it pretty much turns into a bottle episode where they're in a barn and there's vampires outside. It's like turns up to, it's almost like kind of a George Romero joint at that point, but with music. And a lot of good music. I saw it on HBO. I didn't go see it in the theater, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. First of all, Delroy Lindo is in it. I just love seeing him in anything, and he's just like, I think he's terrific. And I thought Jordan was terrific. I thought the special effects were amazing. The scene where the opening, where we see the twins for the first time, and they're passing a cigarette back and forth. That shot, that one shot, is so convincing. From then on, you have no doubt that you feel like it's two people. And it's really, really good. And it's a good-looking movie. And special effects with the twins, the VFX are tremendous. I thought that, and I'm probably in the minority here, because I'm not a horror movie fan, but I thought it could have been a really good gangster picture where instead of, facing the vampires, they were facing the KKK and the people from Chicago that they ripped off. I thought that could have been an equally good movie with lots of Tommy guns and stuff, which we do get here a little bit of. But yeah, especially at the end, because there's a big ending there. Overall, like I said, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I don't know if it's the best picture of the year. I don't know if it's my favorite picture of the year. There's some other movies that I think I liked more. There's definitely movies I enjoyed more. But damn, is it well done. It's really, really well done.
I've heard some people say that this film is overrated, and while I vehemently disagree, I get it. But part of what I love so much about this movie is how it either subverts tropes or uses them to a better effect. Like, the film opens in medias res. I hate that. Start the story where it starts. Don't start at the end or the middle and then say, 24 hours earlier, 2 weeks earlier. I hate that. Coogler made it work. This kid shows up with a broken guitar and gashes on his face into a church, and his father's not trying to help him. He's begging him to repent of his sins, so that he can be helped down the road. And then, like, what kind of madness could have possibly created this? Then go back and let's watch all that madness. You have to front load so much stuff, so many visual cues, so many questions to ask as this moment is unfolding at the end of the story, to be like, oh dear God, what could have possibly made this happen? You've locked the audience in. You've engaged them. You've already sucked them into the plot before the plot even starts. That is masterful writing. And then we not only go back and see this stuff unfold, but we see it in a way, again, that gives the audience credit. We don't have to know what Smoke and Stack did in Chicago. We just know that as assertive, confident black men, they ran afoul of the mafia. And to the point where they thought it was safer to go back to the Deep South. We don't need to know what they did. We know what the consequences imply. There's so much great cinematography here, especially the juke joint dance hall scene with all the spirits of music, of African music and blues coming in and out, some Chinese music coming out and seeing how that influences everything. Like, that's, one of the best scenes of the year, hands down. And again, all the Texas switches they had to do that basically in one take. When you go back to the actual vampire plot, the whole idea of inviting them into your house, that's the original vampire lore. Like, they can't enter unless they're invited. Brought to the screen best by Let the Right One In. From that very first moment, you're seeing that everything that happens is on Smoke and Stack's terms. They don't engage with you unless they feel like it. They don't talk to you unless you are given their tacit permission to talk back to them. In an era of the Jim Crow South, in that deep of an area of the Jim Crow South, where they could just shoot you for having dark skin. That is ballsy. Not just, again, from a cocky character standpoint, like, it's ballsy as cinema, as storytelling, as a directorial approach to set up the themes of what we're going to see. We're still talking about the first 5 minutes here before we get into the whole, how do we bring the juke joint together? How do we have this survival horror with all these characters that we know are mostly going to be cannon fodder, but we still care about them? You want to talk about Delroy Lindo? Good Lord. He wrings so much pathos out of that character. Like a few years ago, I was amazed that he wasn't nominated for The Five Bloods. For that just incredibly bonkers character he played then. But it's the same thing. It's like, he is a character who is doomed from the moment you see him. It's like, this is not a spoiler. He is marked for death the instant he is introduced on screen. But he makes sure that you give a damn about him every step of the way until it happens. And then of course, there's the music itself. Good Lord. Miles Caton's voice, I Lied to You, the juke joint scene, the Jack O'Connell and the Klansmen doing the Irish folk. Little Gordonson, he's going to win his third Oscar for original score because he just has this incredibly fused orchestral arrangement that brings in the blues, brings in Afrofuturism, brings in Irish folk. It really is about showing music as a communal experience, and then the spin on it is, what if that communal experience has to be stolen in order for it to happen? It's rare when my favorite film gets the most nominations at the Oscars. It's very rare. This is one of those times where it's like, yep, like me and the Academy, we're actually in fairly close alignment. As a creative outlet, horror is one of the better genres because there's no, just like with animation, there's no limit to what you can do. Standard drama, standard comedy, standard action, it's like you can exceed the expectations sometimes, but there's always a formula. There's always something that's almost rigid about it where you kind of have to adhere to things. Sinners, everything's on the table. Nothing is set in stone apart from the whole let them in, invite them in trope of vampire stories. You start with that, you add in the racial element, you add in music as a metaphor for colonialism, for equality, for community, for theft, and for the racial struggle of Black Americans in general. And then from there on out, it's basically carte blanche. Do whatever you want. Just make sure that it's logical to the story you're telling, and make sure it looks good as hell. And Coogler did that every single step of the way.
This is the BTRP Media Network.